Hello, and welcome to my thoughts while standing in the queue. The other day, I was standing in the queue and I noted all the people who were carrying their little cats in carry cases so they could get a bit of the lovely summer air we've been having in Brighton. And I was thinking about how we name our animals. Jeremy Corbyn has a cat that he's named Cat. I think that's a smart thing. All too often, we humans name our animals confusing names that get everybody mixed up, and nobody knows whether you're talking about somebody with two legs or four. For example, a friend of mine had a cat named George, and she would always, when she came home, she was living in a very dicey neighborhood, and when she came home, she would climb the steps and she would yell, "George, I'm home!" And that way, any prospective burglar would think that there was a man in the house. That's clever, but it's very confusing for the cat, and it's also confusing for all her friends named George. Now, I have to admit that I do the same thing, and the time that I'm thinking of that caused the most trouble for me was when my family consisted of David, a dog plagued with fleas, Cindy, a poodle with such disgusting breath I could detect her presence when I pulled into the garage, and Sarah, a cat who had a penchant for projectile vomiting, and Eileen, a cat with a nasty temper. I decided I was going to take my four little animals to the vet to see if I could remedy some of these problems, and I asked my 7-year-old neighbor Mark, a sweet little red-headed boy with freckles, to come along with me. We managed to herd the animals into the vet's office, and the vet read all the charts of all the animals, and then he said, "Okay, I'll put Mark up here and I'll give him a shot." Mark said, "I hate shots." I said, "You don't mean Mark, you mean David." And I put David up on the table, and he gave David a shot because he had such terrible fleas. The doctor then took care of all the other ailments. He kept Cindy overnight because she had to have her teeth cleaned. He gave Sarah a shot. He gave Eileen some antibiotics. And then he looked at the charts again and said, "If you put Mark back up here, and I'll give him that shot, and then you can go home." Mark ran out of the office and hid in the trunk of my car. Now, all this could have been avoided if I had named my animals reasonable names. For example, I could have called David the black dog, Cindy the beige dog, Eileen the black cat, and Sarah the tiger cat. And then everybody would have known what we were talking about. I could have named Mark Boy with Freckles, and then he wouldn't have had to worry about the vet giving him a shot because they aren't licensed to give shots to humans. I have to say that I think that Jeremy Corbyn has exactly the right idea, except what happens when you open the door and have to call your cat when its name is Cat. If you open the door in a neighborhood and you shout "Cat," you're liable to get 15 stray cats and one confused child named Catherine running into your house. And on the other hand, if you do this with dogs, they are far too intelligent to just come running. But if you give them wave a slab of meat in the doorway, you will get a lot of dogs, and you will also get a lot of homeless men, which is going to cause a lot of trouble and put strain on your plumbing facilities. So that doesn't work very well. But as I say, hooray for Jeremy Corbyn. He really has the right idea. And the truth is that if he stood at the door and yelled "Cat," nothing would happen because cats pay absolutely no attention to humans. That's the way cats are. And thank you so much for joining me for my thoughts while standing in the queue.